Hey, what's up? ItsSMOGONdevo here, back at it with my first Rainbow Cup showcase. Today we're going to be featuring Ninetales, a very cool Pokemon in the Rainbow Cup actually. I think it is one of the best, if not the best, Venusaur counter in this cup. Why? Well, because it's extremely diverse and unique. It's unique because no electric actually beats it. Well, Lanturn does, but if you're looking at Raichu, Raikou, and Magneton, it's actually able to take them both on, or all three of them on, where Charizard and Mantine would lose. The other cool thing is it can actually take on either Confusion user depending on its set as well, which is really cool. The Zard and Mantine are really just kind of there to beat Executor, but lose to Slowpoke. Ninetales can choose which one it wants to beat. Yeah, it can really fill a few different types of roles on top of its primary role, and that's what I really do like about Ninetales, the fact that it's so versatile on your team. You can really tailor it to do specifically what you want it to, while maintaining its core coverage. So the set you're looking at is either Feint Attack or Fire Spin plus Psyshock. You don't need anything else. But if you were to get a second charge move, I believe you would be looking at Flamethrower, which is especially helpful for Feint Attack, or Solar Beam. But really, Feint Attack or Fire Spin plus Psyshock is usually all you need. So with that said, here are some of the positive matchups you maintain. So you get the Saur W, you have a good matchup with Raichu and Zard, Fortress and B as well. You pick the Confusion user, and there is also an argument for Feint Attack with Tentacruel, but I'll get into that as well. So now that you kind of know the general, matchups, I want to show you the sims, and then I'm going to jump into a few battles and just show off Ninetales. Before I do the battles, I'll just give you some parting thoughts. But yeah, let's just jump straight into the sims and not waste any time. So here we are at the Sims. I just kind of want to go through Ninetales and show you some of its matchups. And then I want to kind of compare both Fire Spin and Feint Attack, again, so you can see them and understand the differences a bit. After we get that done, I'm going to just give you a few more words on Ninetales and what I think, and then we're just going to jump straight into a few battles, and you'll be able to see it performing for yourself. So I'm just going to go through the positive matchups I've just listed one by one and show you exactly how they break down for Ninetales. So first up, let's go ahead and check Ninetales versus Venusaur. So we got the right set. We'll check Fire Spin. I'm going to be simming them with Flamethrower. If I see any interferences with Flamethrower, I'll get rid of it, but I'm just going to leave it like this for now. So let's hit the battle. So you'll see that Ninetales does actually come out with the win here. And it ends the battle with a Flamethrower fully charged, which is great. So let's check Feint Attack now. And you'll see that it still does come out with the win. Of course, in both instances, you see it actually getting hit by the Sludge Bomb. So if you don't shield the Frenzy Plant and take the Sludge Bomb instead, you'll be slightly better off, of course. But in this case, it had to use its second Psyshock to actually come out with the win. So it's not able to farm Venusaur as well with Feint Attack, but it still does come out with a win. So putting it back to Fire Spin, let's check out Raichu. So see here, it does come out the win again versus Raichu using its second Psyshock. This is if you take the Wild Charge. Of course, the results are a little different if you don't take Wild Charge and you take the Thunder Punch instead. You're actually much better off. But in the worst case scenario where you do take that Wild Charge, you do actually beat Raichu. So let's switch it up and go to Feint Attack. Take it off Sandbox. See, I didn't use Flamethrower at all either, by the way. But in this case, if you do take that Wild Charge, you will actually tie, because Raichu's able to get a Thunder Punch. Actually, it's able to get 2 Thunder Punches off and a Wild Charge, because Feint Attack's doing a little bit less damage versus Raichu. So when we're looking at them here, we'll see that Feint Attack will likely bring you the tie, and Fire Spin will get you the win. But in either way, it is still a positive for Ninetales. But let's keep it moving. Alright, so looking at Charizard, we'll look at Fire Spin first. So you'll see that it is a tie with Fire Spin. That's even assuming you get the Blast Burn rather than taking a Dragon Claw. If Zard decides to Dragon Claw 3 times, it's the same result as well versus Feint Attack, or sorry, versus Fire Spin. But if we try the Feint Attack now, you'll see that you actually do come out on top, because Zard won't be able to get to a second Dragon Claw and a Blast Burn. So it looks like Feint Attack is slightly better in this scenario. So now let's check out Ninetales versus Fortress. So Fire Spin and Psyshock will have no problem taking out Fortress, and you'll see that you end the match with almost a Flamethrower ready to go here. If we turn it over to Feint Attack, this is actually the one time where you do need Flamethrower, but it's only for Feint Attack. So with Feint Attack, you can actually come out on top, and you'll be able to actually beat the Fortress. I think you can just double Flamethrower here. Yeah, you can just Flamethrower twice and still win. Versus Rock Tomb Fortress, I believe it can actually get out that Rock Tomb, so you have to be careful. But this is the one instance where you would actually prefer Flamethrower. Alright, so looking at Beedrill now. You have no problem taking out Beedrill, and again, this time you almost have a Flamethrower ready to go. It's a little bit different with Feint Attack, however. So with Feint Attack, you can actually lose to Beedrill if it lands the Sludge Bomb. So if we switch it around and shield the Sludge Bomb, and do not shield the X-Scissor, then we're actually able to get out our second Psyshock and take the win. So it looks like Fire Spin has the advantage, at least in the Beedrill matchup, and it can actually allow you to farm it a little bit if you're willing to burn a shield. So the interesting part about Ninetales is, depending on the fast move you have, you actually will be able to beat the opposite Confusion user. So first, let's just check out Slowpoke with Fire Spin. You see that we do actually lose here. Flamethrower isn't really helping us here, but it really wouldn't matter because we can't really get energy past this Flamethrower. So we wouldn't be able to use any other charge moves anyways. Even if we had another charge move, we wouldn't be able to build the energy high enough. As you can see, we just barely get this Flamethrower. So really there's nothing you can do with Fire Spin versus Slowpoke. But if you do change it to Feint Attack, then you'll see we get the damage we need to get to actually knock it out with a second Psyshock. It is a relatively close matchup, but there are some breakpoints you can play around with. Slowpoke unfortunately can't get past these stats because this is a max level 40 Slowpoke with 100 IVs. So it's a lot easier for your Ninetales to try to play around this or get just a little bit more HP. And there's also the possibility of your opponent not having a 15-15-15 Slowpoke. But let's move on to Exeggutor, not to get too caught up in this. This is the opposite Confusion user. So you'll see Fire Spin will actually pick up the win here quite handily, and you do farm it a little bit, almost able to get off your second Flamethrower ready for the next target. Just curious about something if we did decide to take the Seed Bomb. Okay, if we take the Seed Bomb, we'll lose, but if you're willing to burn that shield, then you can walk out of this with a lot of energy. Alternatively, let's not Psyshock and burn a shield. Turn into a Fire Spin. Yeah, we could we could build a lot of energy if we just block one of Exeggutor's moves. So turn that to Seed Bomb, shield it. Yeah, we can farm a ton of energy here. So, but Feint Attack on the other hand, it won't be able to actually beat Exeggutor. Exeggutor actually walks with a little bit more health. The last place where I want to examine Fire Spin and Feint Attack is versus Tentacruel. So let's run the sim with our Fire Spin Ninetales. So Tentacruel can actually come out with the win here. The sims are showing it winning because of Hydro Pump, but that's not entirely true. Let's just get rid of Hydro Pump altogether now. And you'll see it still wins even with the Acid Spray twice. I don't think it changes too much if we shield the first Acid Spray or not. Let's try that though. Yeah, no, it's still the exact same win. So Tentacruel's able to beat non-Feint Attack Ninetales. But if we switch it to Feint Attack, a double Acid Spray cannot kill us this time. So we're able to do a little bit more damage here. However, if it is rocking Hydro Pump and it gets that bait again. Oh, actually, it looks like Tentacruel cannot build energy high enough to get Hydro Pump versus Feint Attack Ninetales. So that is one positive in Feint Attack's favor, actually. I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to check out for the Sims. So now I'm just going to give a few words on the differences, actually. So let me just hop back to the other setup over there, and then I'll tell you what I think about Ninetales again, going over both of its sets. Yeah, so I think that's a good enough look at the differences between Feint Attack and Fire Spin. Before I get into the battles, I just kind of want to go over them again so that they're 100% clear. So when we're looking at it, again, Ninetales really only needs Feint Attack, Fire Spin, and Psyshock. With that, it has the positives of Saur, Raichu, Charizard, Fortress, Beedrill, either Confusion User, and the one thing Feint Attack has is that Tentacruel matchup. So breaking that down a little bit more, versus Saur, Feint Attack and Fire Spin with just Psyshock can win. Fire Spin though is at a better position to farm Venusaur, so that's something probably in Fire Spin's favor, although they both do win. With Raichu, Feint Attack will tie Raichu more likely, but Fire Spin will give you the win. Still a positive either way. With Charizard, Feint Attack actually wins here, whereas Fire Spin will tie. Now looking at Fortress, so this is the one time when you actually would need Flamethrower, but only if you have Feint Attack Ninetales. But with Flamethrower and Feint Attack, you can beat Fortress, but Fire Spin alone can actually beat Fortress as well. So, and it's at a good position to actually farm that Fortress. So here I would say that you're better off with Fire Spin probably, but if you manage to get that Legacy Ninetales, you still can pull off the win with Feint Attack, although it's a little bit less reliable here. Similar story to Beedrill actually. With Fire Spin you get a clear win and you can farm it to a degree as well, but with Feint Attack you are looking at a 50-50 tie, or sorry, a 50-50 loss depending on whether or not you take that Sludge Bomb. So another point there for Fire Spin in my opinion, although Feint Attack is able to take both of them on. So the Confusion User is kind of interesting. Again, Feint Attack you can beat Poke, and Fire Spin you can beat Exeggutor. That's a very interesting consideration actually, because you can really tailor your Ninetales to do exactly what your team needs because of this. And this is one of the biggest selling point for either sets. So far it seems like Fire Spin is a bit more preferred for those farming opportunities, but with Feint Attack, the one positive you have is that you can actually beat Tentacruel. Of course, there is also the better poke matchup, but beating Tentacruel is pretty good to have as well. So with that, I do think that both Fire Spin and Feint Attack are viable. With Feint Attack, I think you are definitely going to want Flamethrower, just because I don't think there's as much room for you to use any other charge move. But Fire Spin has a little bit more flexibility. I still personally prefer Flamethrower on it. But the cool thing is, Fire Spin has a lot more opportunities to farm. You have that Executor matchup, you have Fortress, and you have Beedrill, for example. But because of that farming opportunity, you have the chance to possibly launch a Solar Beam on this version of Ninetales, at least in the mid to late game. So if that's something you want to run, Solar Beam, then I would definitely consider the Fire Spin version of Ninetales. But I think that's all I really wanted to say about it. So now I'm just going to jump into a few battles here. So I hope you enjoy those, and let's get into that now. So here we are with the battles. I'm going to start the first one off by using Quagsire, Slowpoke, and Ninetales. And these first few videos are going to be featuring the Feint Attack Ninetales. And then for the other half, we're going to check out Fire Spin. The Pokemon I use in the video are going to be somewhat varied, because all of this footage is coming across a few days worth of battles. So really I'm still experimenting with the Rainbow Cup, but that shouldn't change anything too much. Should be able to show you what I want to show you still. But anyways, we will lead with Quagsire into his Lanturn. Very good matchup for my Quagsire. At this point, I was still doing some early testing with Acid Spray. So I am going to go for the Acid Spray right here. He doesn't shield it, unfortunately, but that's okay. Build up some energy. I go for Stone Edge. He does make a good switch here. So I Stone Edge into his Quagsire, and now I want to get out mine. Swap in Slowpoke here. This is an interesting matchup. You just slam your Confusion a few times. With Slowpoke, usually you don't want to take the first charge move. Or sorry, you do want to take the first charge move and save a shield. So that's what I do, and I go for my Psyshock. So yeah, with Slowpoke, you don't shield the first move versus Quagsire. And now that I decide not to play Slowpoke properly, but it's okay. I'm able to get in Ninetales and maintain my shield advantage. I will shield this move coming in from the Lanturn. Lanturn is weakened with Acid Spray, so because I have the Feint Attack Ninetales, I'm thinking I can just chip it down with fast moves and farm it up for some energy. So that's exactly what I tried to do. So I go for a shield burn, and then I just chip away at it with Feint Attack. And I actually do manage to knock it out. I go for another Psyshock and get his final shield as well. And you'll see that Psyshock does put up a reasonable amount of pressure. It just comes out really quick. So now it's my Quagsire versus his Charizard. He does manage to get Blast Burn, which kind of sucks, but I'm able to just hang in a little bit longer and actually get my Stone Edge off and take out his Zard. But yeah, you can really see Feint Attack putting in work versus Fire Spin. It helps to run it with a Quagsire with Acid Spray, but it can give you that advantage. So game 2, we're going to lead Poke, have Ninetales in the back, and Raichu as well. You'll see more of that Psyshock pressure here as well, and a little bit of the highlight for Raichu versus Ninetales. So we lead Poke into Quag. How you're supposed to play this matchup is you take the first charge move. However, this was done in very early testing, so we weren't really running the sets where you're supposed to play your Slowpoke like that. So he does have Earthquake and he goes for it. I don't shield it expecting like a Stone Edge or a Sludge Bomb or Acid Spray. But I'm just able to get my Psyshock. Do a reasonable amount of damage here. My Slowpoke does go down. Now I'm going to bring in my Ninetales. I will let my shield go, knowing that I can farm up a slight bit of energy because of how weak this Quagsire is, and it does help again that I'm Feint Attack. So now he brings in his Chew, but I do have the energy lead. So you'll see that I'm able to get my first Psyshock off and apply a ton of pressure with it, forcing the Raichu to shield. I'm going to shield this. I probably could have gotten away with not shielding, but it's okay. So now I'm almost at my second shield, or sorry, my second Psyshock. I have to take this Wild Charge, and Ninetales actually does manage to do it and get to the second Psyshock. So Ninetales has a reasonable amount of bulk. That's probably the reason why this matchup is actually in its favor, actually. Because it can tank a Wild Charge if it has to. But whatever, so now we're Raichu versus Zard, and I just have to get my Wild Charge to clean up this match. So jumping into the next battle, going with Slowpoke, Quagsire, and Ninetales. Another Feint Attack showcase. So I get Poke in versus Blastoise. I actually really do like Poke as a lead. I mean, it has a good matchup with Venusaur, Quagsire, the Bug Flying group, Water. Really, it's just looking out for Electrics, which I hadn't seen being led a lot at this point, but I think about going for the switch here, but I see that it is Venusaur. So now I just want to apply some pressure and burn some shields with my Slowpoke. I know he's locked as well. So I get a shield. At this point I'm thinking Slowpoke's done enough. I don't really want to burn a shield for it. So now I'll bring in my Ninetales and get a slight energy farm. I don't shield the Frenzy Plant. That was a risk. I honestly should have just shielded the Frenzy Plant just in case it was a Sludge Bomb, but it's okay. I've now farmed up the Venusaur. Can apply some pressure with Psyshock. And because it's Feint Attack, I am able to chip down the Blastoise just a little and get to my third Psyshock. So Zard comes in. Obviously my Ninetales will go down now, but my Quag once again will come in and try to clean up the match. I definitely could have afforded a few shields there, but we'll go ahead and take that one too. So into the next match, we're going to bring Venusaur, Ninetales, and Quagsire. And from here on, we're actually going to be looking at the Fire Spin sets. So I lead Venusaur into Azumarill, which is great for me. So just building up some energy. He does go for a switch. I wanted to see what he brought in, but now that I see its Executor, I'm going to bring in my Ninetales and farm away at it. I'm going to burn the shield just in case of a Psychic. And it exactly was a Psychic. But now we take it out and I have a Psyshock farmed up. Ninetales is really good at farming any of the grass types. Now I'm going to apply some Psyshock pressure. The thing is, versus Azumarill, there isn't a whole lot you can do. I did manage to get 2 Psyshocks off there, so this is an instance where Solar Beam might have been a preferred move over Flamethrower if I managed to land it. But Ninetales goes down, I bring in my Venusaur, have to shield this Ice Beam, and I get my Frenzy Plant. But yeah, there's generally nothing you can really do versus Azumarill with Ninetales, which at this point we weren't too aware of because this again was some early testing. So I'm running Sludge Bomb Quag this time around, and I'm going to just land it straight on the Azumarill and take it out. And now Quagsire just has to get the Stone Edge. And can pretty much take any hit from the Ninetales as well, so I'll take that Psyshock no problem. and take it out with the Mud Shot. But yeah, Solar Beam definitely has some uses, and you can see in that matchup I actually probably wanted it. But I was just testing the Flamethrower variant, unfortunately. So now we lead Ninetales into Azumarill, which is a big oof. Again, there's nothing it can really do versus Azumarill, so I try to farm a little bit of energy and switch out. I should have waited until he tried to Ice Beam my Ninetales, but I burned the shield. Now he switches out to Blastoise by mistake, actually, but it works out for me. So I'm just going to try to burn that shield. And I'll try one more time. I decide to shield this, expecting an Ice Beam, and I was right. So I farm a little bit of extra energy and go for the Frenzy Plant here. Take out his Blastoise, but he does have a shield advantage. I'm going to go for Sludge Bomb, knowing Exeggutor has to shield. And I do get the final shield. So he's able to farm up Venusaur a little bit. I will bring in my Ninetales with a Flamethrower ready to go, and I will just melt away this Exeggutor. Thanks to that prior farming. So now I switch quickly into my Azumarill and go for the Mirror. I'm actually running the wrong Azumarill set. Again, this was early testing, so I hadn't had time to change my Hydro Pump to Ice Beam. But in the Mirror, you just want to spam Play Rough anyways. So that's what I do. Now it's just an energy race to Play Rough. But luckily for me, because I was using the incorrect Azu set, I built to Hydro Pump and just launched that. And it's just short of the kill, but that final bubble will actually get it for me. So the next match, I'm going to be leading Blastoise with Ninetales and Quagsire in the back. So I lead Blastoise into the Slowbro. Water Gun, energy farming here. Trying to build to the Ice Beam. Now I'm going to try to burn a shield with Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon really is amazing. Don't get the shield, but I do a ton of chip. Get another one off. Do get a shield this time around. He decides to switch, so I'm building up a little bit of energy, and I make my own switch into Quagsire, knowing that his Lanturn is trapped. I'll go straight away for the Stone Edge. You know, usually I would prefer to Acid Spray here, but I was not running it, unfortunately. I shield the incoming Thunderbolt, just fearing a Hydro Pump. Now I'm just trying to farm up a little bit of energy. I decide to take this move. I didn't expect him to have a Hydro Pump, because I didn't think he had the energy. Now I try to Shield Bait, but I think Sludge Bomb would kill at this range as well. So I make that correct play, and now I'm just short of a second Stone Edge. So you can see me tapping at it, trying to get it. I just get it, and I'm able to actually chip this Fortress considerably. But my Quag will go down, and now my Ninetales can come in and farm this Fortress, or try to. Slowbro comes in, but I'm not scared of the Ice Beam, so I let it hit me. And now I'll just farm up this Slowbro a little bit too. I switch really quickly into the Blastoise, anticipating another charge move, like Psychic, but it was an Ice Beam. Still kills Blastoise, but now his Slowbro has no energy. And I KO it with my Ninetales. I try to burn a shield here. I don't get it, but it's okay, because in this situation, as long as I shield whatever charge move he goes to, Fire Spin will knock it down, as you just saw. So jumping into this battle, I'm going to lead Lapras with Ninetales and Exeggutor in the back. So this is normally a very bad matchup for Lapras. But I don't want to lose switch advantage, so I just play it out. Build to Surf. I don't want to shield. I'm expecting Thunder Punch, and I know this is a losing matchup, so I don't want to burn a shield. But luckily for me, he's running the Brick Break version of Raichu. So now I'm just going to try to burn as many shields as I can. So I get the first one, I go for Surf again. Goes Brick Break. I'm thinking I've lost at this point, but Brick Break doesn't kill me. Right here is why you definitely want Thunder Punch. So I get both shields. Lapras goes down, but that's no problem. Now I can bring an Executor, which I know can take a Wild Charge. I probably should have shielded it, to be honest, and then just tried to farm a little bit of energy, but it's okay. Now I'm able to just squeeze out a Seed Bomb here. If I had shielded the Wild Charge, I would have been in a much better position. But we do a massive chunk to Lapras. And now I can bring in my Ninetales. And just chip away at this Lapras. Luckily for me, he has Victory Bell. Now his Lapras that I actually didn't kill comes back in. But I'll take it down with this Psyshock and claim that match right there. So we'll take that one, and moving along to the final match, I'm going to lead Ninetales into... Yeah, I don't know what I was trying to say there. I'm going to lead Ninetales with Executor and Lapras in the back. I lead it into Fortress, so he immediately switches out. Farm a little bit of energy and I get out of there and go into my Executor. So this time around, I'm not going to shield. I'm going to take this Thunderbolt. I'm trying to build to the Solar Beam. I'm watching it. I know that confusion gets me there, so now I know I have 2 Seed Bombs. And I go for the first one, and then immediately I go for the second one as well, knowing that I have both. I'm able to take both shields from Lanturn, and now I'm just short of this confusion damage. But I do have the shield advantage, so I'm going to go ahead and bring in my Ninetales. Shield whatever it tries to go for, and then just get an additional bit of energy off of the Lanturn. And faint it. And luckily for me, he does have a Fortress and a Venusaur in the back, so I'm going to decimate this Venusaur with a Psyshock. Farm, 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 knowing that I have 2 shields. So I'll burn the first one and just farm away. So now I have a Flamethrower ready to go, and I'm just going to launch it straight into that Fortress. And we will take this match as well. So that just about does it for the battles. I hope you got a good look at Ninetales, both the Feint Attack and the Fire Spin sets. Unfortunately, I didn't really test out Solar Beam, but just a quick overview. Ninetales with Feint Attack, Fire Spin, and Psyshock alone has the following positives. You got that Venusaur, Raichu, Charizard, Beedrill, Fortress, although Feint Attack needs a Flamethrower to beat Fortress. That's the one exception where Psyshock isn't enough. You also have your pick of either Confusion user. And Feint Attack, while maybe lacking on that Fortress matchup, does actually pick up the Tentacruel win. So both have their own pros and cons. With Fire Spin and Psyshock, you have a bit more room to run Solar Beam as well, just because you have all those extra chances to farm. But honestly, both are great. I really think you should consider Ninetales on your team. I absolutely love it, and I think it definitely has a spot on my final team once I figure out whatever that is. I'm going to leave a little write-up in the description just to generally go over those matchups again, so you have them in your head and have an easy access to them. But I do strongly recommend you just to watch the video. My boy, actually, JRE Seawolf, he's going to be doing a excellent Reddit write-up post, which I will also link in the description. So definitely check that one out. But anyways, that's going to be it for me. I hope you guys really liked this video. Please leave a comment, like, and if you don't mind, subscribe to my channel. Take it easy, guys.